The problem with this economy is that asset prices remain subdued, employment has not come back to pre-recession levels, and thus we cannot slight the household sector for being less than enthusiastic about the pace of their own spending. The interesting part about consumers in this economy is that despite the gains that we have had, despite the growth that we have had, we're still not back to even normal yet in terms of consumer sentiment. And I would submit to you that part of the reason that consumer sentiment remains as weak as it is lies in the fact that those real asset prices have not got back to pre-recession levels. We need to be candid and acknowledge the fact that the household portion of real estate equity, think of it how much the households have equity in their homes, was cut by more than 50% between 2005 and 2010. So while the equity is rising again in the housing sector, we are not yet at a point where housing, which is probably the greatest accumulator of net worth in our economy, is anywhere near where it was in 2005. Consumer confidence hit a generational low in November of 2008. And we started coming back, and we made up about 40% of our drop from peak to trough. So when I spoke to business groups in the spring of 2011, I said we've made up 40% of our drop in consumer confidence. We expect we'll make up another 10 to 15% over the next 12 months. But then something interesting happened. What happened was consumer confidence turned back down and actually dropped back to matching levels equal to the darkest days of the Great Recession. What was causing this divergence? My argument was that Main Street America, Main Street Georgia, Main Street Atlanta lost confidence in the governments in Europe and in the U.S. to get their fiscal house in order. The political games we played in terms of threatening to default on our Treasury obligations, threatening to shut down the government, caused household confidence to plummet. Therefore, it is not surprising that in late 2012, when we started talking once again about issues related to the so-called fiscal cliff, that we again started seeing consumer confidence fall. So as goes the real estate market, to some degree will go the Atlanta economy. And the real estate market is doing better. In 2012, new home construction and sales rose by about 20%. We quite likely will rise 25% in 2013. But here's the problem. Going up 20, going up 25, that sounds robust. Break out the champagne, let's start the party. Well, it's a little bit of an illusion. Because from peak to trough, new home sales dropped by about 80%. But here in Atlanta, Georgia, where we led the nation in new home construction, for much of the last quarter century, we didn't drop 80%. We dropped 94%. It is hard to overstate what that did to our local economy. But the interesting part on the new home market is that for builders in the perimeter, Sandy Springs, in Roswell, in East Cobb, in much of Gwinnett, if you're on the northern donut, reasonably close to 285, in a good school district, you can sell them as fast as you can build them right now. The problem is, can they get the financing to build the homes? If they can build them and sell them as quick as they can do it. The good news is here in Atlanta, we are up 13% in terms of home price over the last 12 months. We are still down 27% versus where we were prior to the correction in the housing market. We still have a lot of work to do.